You're about to enjoy a Cloudcast original. Local stories, local storytellers, local brands.
Have you ever felt that you as a woman may not appear to measure up when you see incredible women in strong roles? You may be surprised when hearing from women in these positions and how we all share many of the same challenges. Thank you for joining us for the CEO Leading In podcast with Rebecca Jones as we share the journeys of women.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Jones, your host of CEO. We are on an exploration together to discover more about the personal journeys of incredible women in both career and life. We all have paths to share that sometimes take incredible turns, deep resilience, and courage to navigate. My hopes are that the challenges shared here encourage women to take leaps of faith and growth when a journey feels too difficult or unachievable. There is great strength deep within each one of us. These stories are meant to share the way strong women have taken their dreams to strive and thrive to new heights despite their sometimes rocky paths and found a way to lead in. So today we are with Kathy Padilla from Hahn. Hi, Kathy. How are you today?
I am great. How are you?
I'm excellent. So excited that you could come with and meet with us today and talk about what you do. Could you tell us a little bit about Hahn and all that you do there?
Hahn is about an 18-month-old experiential marketing company, and we have a few retainer clients in town, and our primary focus is to sort of create fun for our clients and brand awareness. We have two unique vehicles, literally vehicles, that we use to have activations for our clients. They're called the Wonder Bus, and they're these really unique double-decker English buses that we have modified to be sort of a mobile venue, a portable stage. So we have bands playing on the top, and we have, client signage, or if it's a private event, we can put whatever type of signage onto the sides of the buses for the advertising and promotion. And we sort of slow roll the buses through different neighborhoods, whether it's in Del Mar or Gaslamp. We can also take them to locations and sort of create an activation and event pretty much anywhere. They're sort of self-sufficient vehicles. And my piece of it is I'm the business manager. So I've worked very closely with the founder of the company, Ernie Hahn. We've worked together for about 20 years at the arena in our, what we like to call our previous life. And now I just kind of help with any of the day-to-day business that I can get my hands on, booking the events, managing the insurance and the financial part of the company, however I can help. That's sort of what I do.
So you're in the fun business of music.
Yes, we're in the fun business.
That's
with
awesome.
Sound.
That's awesome. So why don't you share with us a little short story about your childhood, if you have one for us?
Short story about my childhood. Well, I'm a native San Diegan. I was born at Grossmont Hospital in La Mesa. And I guess I just kind of grew up in La Mesa thinking that was my entire bubble. So I didn't really, I would go to the beach occasionally, but I didn't really venture much past that. So just very humble Catholic school girl, nothing really too exciting.
I grew up in East County too, and I get what you mean. It is
Yes.
a bubble out there. It is a bubble in East County.
There really is a bubble. I didn't know where Fashion Valley Shopping Center was until I met my husband when I was 20 years old. So that's a story.
Wow. That's fun.
Yes.
Okay. So is there one word that you think describes you?
I would say passionate, and to those that I love and those that I'm friends with, very devoted. True blue.
Nice. That's really nice. So you mentioned about how long you've been doing that, but tell us a little bit about the sports arena and that
The
job.
arena was one of the great loves of my life. I started working there in 2004 when Ernie and his dad were the primary owners of the business. It was a different time. They owned the hockey team, the San Diego Gulls at the time. So we were, again, in the fun business, and we had so much latitude and so much creativity at our disposal because, we could create our own environment. We didn't have a lot of corporate layering and things like that. And it was a real family environment. People that worked there had been there since the building opened. So we have, there were people with tenure when I left there 35, 40 years, which speaks volumes to the management and how much, everyone just loved the building. We all felt such a connection, like it was our home away from home. We were very passionate, protective, and very proud to be associated with it.
So how do you measure success in all of that? I'm sure it looks very different than most careers. It's very different.
It is very different. Of course, a lot of it comes down to the bottom line, the numbers and the money, which is business. But I would measure it, and I think if Ernie were here too, we would measure it by how good we felt about what we did. Like, we always felt like we did an honest job. We always felt like we gave it our absolute all. We would think outside the box, try to create different things that would enhance the experience for the attendees, for the promoters. We tried to make the backstage as nice as possible, bring in lots of different food options, all of these kind of very unique things to that facility because of the unique ownership.
And the Wonder Bus is very different. So explain the evolution. How did you guys even come up with this?
Well, it's all him. And the Wonder Bus is just one of those really unique situations that sort of became COVID proof. And it was the right time because everything else was shut down, but you could still play music. You could still be outside. And it's a really nice environment where you can have the show come to you. So there aren't all the logistics of, getting a band, getting the sound, getting the stage, finding all those pieces. Just find us a spot and we can do the rest, kind of thing.
Right. So that was a fun evolution. Did you think, Ernie, you're crazy for thinking this up? Be honest.
Because what I learned, and it's funny, I've said it to lots of people, like, never bet against Ernie Hahn, because if it can be done, he will do it. He's got like that charismatic personality and backed up with, a lot of smarts and a lot of business sense and knows everyone in town. So I thought it was just a brilliant, creative, such an Ernie idea.
That's fun. So tell me, do you have children?
Yes, I do.
So how do you balance all of this? How do you balance everything? How do you balance the work and the life? It's going to be a little crazy at times.
Well, you have to have a good partner. And my husband's fantastic. We've been married for almost 38 years now. And my kids are fantastic. But it kind of goes back to that work-life balance of working in an environment where you really feel like you're part of a family. So if things happen, and which things happen, you have that support and people that believe in you and genuinely care about you that will give you whatever it is that you need from the business, whether it's time off or additional support to get your work done, or, whatever the case may be. Always having someone to have your back you can't put a number on that.
Well, and finding that team, and that takes a little bit of work sometimes.
Yes, it does.
So, just kind of thinking about a female, I'm imagining that you deal with a lot of men.
Yes.
Have you had any barriers? Do you think that has, created some issues?
Certainly.
And have you overcome
Not
them?
just at the arena, but, just being a woman working in business, especially in the early 80s when I kind of first started, it's stereotypical. Oh, I'm the girl, so get the food, get the this, get the that, and try not to have an opinion, or at least keep it to yourself, sort of thing. Yes, there have been barriers, definitely.
So how did you get past those?
You just have to sometimes play the game and smile. And then when you come into an environment like I came into at the arena, where your opinion and your ideas are genuinely valued and genuinely sought out, it changes everything. It changes your whole perspective. I have a high school education. I grew up in a time where, it wasn't always a given that you were going to go to college and, do all these things. I got married young and had children when I was young, and had a lot to offer to an organization. But only when I finally got to the arena did I really feel like none of that mattered. All that mattered was we were all good people. Everyone was respected. Your ideas were listened to, and you were allowed to kind of grow. And like, I had like my own department. I managed all the booking at the arena, dealt with all the promoters and all the different artists, and the idiosyncrasies of, that whole world is very unique. But there were no egos, and there was no, that's stay in your lane, or that's not my job kind of thing. It was all about the teamwork and the real sense of family. And I could go on forever. I mean, I can't say enough about how life improving an environment like that is, not only for a woman, but, for anyone.
Sure. So let's talk a little bit about role models. Who do you look back and say, yeah, they really affected me? Or, I took a little bit from them. Tell us a little bit about that.
There was one woman that I worked with. My very first job, my first full-time job, was at a bank that doesn't exist anymore, San Diego Trust and Savings Bank. And there was a female executive, her name was Patricia Horcher, who was so put together and so smart. And this was in 1982, 83. And I just remember looking up to her and thinking, oh my gosh, I would just love to have her life and have her confidence and business savvy. And a woman at that time, she was like a senior vice president or executive vice president at the time. And to be in that kind of a position in banking in the 80s with, she was probably the only woman executive at that level. She was like an idol to me.
Wow. Did you talk to her about all of that and kind of say, hey,
well,
let's talk?
At first I was intimidated by her, but she would always kind of seek me out and ask me questions. And if it was something that I was going to do for her, she would take the time to explain it to me and how it fits into the bigger picture, maybe a little bit more sensitively than her male counterpart.
So she was wanting you to know the why so that you could understand the evolution and how things work.
Yes. And where
That's
my piece
cool.
of it, where I fit in, sort of thing.
I love that. So, just kind of thinking about lessons that you've learned and things that you'd like to tell young women that maybe they could learn and apply to their lives. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I have 3 daughters. And I think one of the most important things is you can always change your path. If you go to school and you go to college and you get in a year or two and you don't like your major and you feel stuck or you feel trapped, it's never too late. You can always find a different path, find something that speaks to you. It's something, you don't have to love every single aspect of your job, because I don't think anyone really could honestly say that. But if there's something that sparks that passion in you, then that's where you should be focusing your energy.
Yeah, I tell people to try things that are outside their comfort zone, because you never know. You might find something that you just go, oh my gosh.
Exactly.
If I hadn't tried this,
exactly.
I would be never doing. I mean, I used to be terrified of public speaking, and I would go, oh, I just don't think I could ever do that or that because of the public speaking. I mean, I think it's one of the worst fears that most people have.
Absolutely.
And thinking about getting up in front of a couple of hundred people, oh no, I'm paralyzed. I can't do that. I mean, it gets so much easier, as you try it several times. I mean, at some point it's just, okay, I got to do it. If I flub, I flub, whatever. But, a lot of people won't try things. I always tell kids, try things that are outside your comfort zone.
Right.
Obviously, nothing that's dangerous. But, things that maybe you don't think you're going to be good at. And I can tell you, there's a lot of growth, don't you think, in that? A lot of growth
yes.
and
100%.
That trying. Yeah. So talk a little bit about your journey. Did it choose you or did you choose it?
Well, my journey evolved from administrative work. I became an executive assistant maybe in my mid 30s, which was kind of the a pretty high level assistant. I was the assistant to the CEO and owner of Ace Parking here in San Diego. And that was where I found the perfect balance of business and getting into sort of helping with their personal life. So there's like a balance of their business life and their personal, travel and finances and things like that. So that's where I really felt like I had chosen my path, because I found that to be a great mix. And then when I went to the arena, I sought out that same ownership of the business, because there's nothing like working for the owner of a business, because all the decisions are made there. There's not a lot of bureaucracy, and you get that nice, sweet spot of having your finger on the pulse of everything that's going on in the business. And then you develop that personal relationship with the family, ways that you can help and support them, through however you can help, whatever the case may be. So I feel like that's where I kind of chose my path.
So Ace Parking to, music. I mean, that really is very different. How'd you find out about that? I had someone tell me, oh, I answered an ad and I moved across the country. And I was like,
I received a phone call from a friend of mine, because, there's an underground network of executive assistants in San Diego if you do it long enough. So a friend of mine works for Doug Manchester, and I had known her forever because Ace does a lot of the parking for Manchester resorts. You see the signs everywhere and whatnot. And so she called me and said, the Hahn family over at the arena is looking for an executive assistant, and I think you'd be perfect. So I went and met with Ernie, and, here we are now.
So that's all about networking. And
Yes.
I think a lot of young women don't understand the importance of that, or think that it might not be too important. I think knowing people is huge, because there are opportunities that open up all the time. And again, kind of back to your point of, this underground, and I wasn't even aware of that, just so you know, the underground network of all these executive assistants saying, oh, hey, maybe this. I mean, if you weren't in that, you wouldn't be where you are. And you've been there 20 something years with. Yeah.
Right.
So very, very interesting. So what are you the most proud of when you're talking about your current career, the music and all of that? It is kind of in its infancy, but I think it's pretty successful, isn't it?
Dream Hahn is very successful. It is still in its infancy. And what I'm most proud of is being part of it, having a relationship with Ernie that we've had for such a long time. And it's like, it's just family. I mean, there's no, oh, I've already worked my, 7 hours today, or I've already done this or that. That's just not what it is. You just want this to grow. You want it to succeed. And I'm just so proud that at this stage of my career and at this point in my life, I'm part of something like that. It's a very exciting opportunity, and it's a very, the possibilities are endless. So all we do, we just come up with ideas and we implement them. Here's one perfect example. So we decided for our client, because we have, Infinium Spirits is one of our biggest clients, and they have tickets on the barrel deck at Petco Park, the Templeton Rye barrel deck. So we decided that we were going to they wanted to have this night where they had all their, their big people from out of town were there. So we did these different activations. One of them was a human statue. So Ernie and I and our team, we kind of created this character. His name's Rye, R-Y-E, for Templeton Rye. His name is Rye in right field. And so I found a kid, and one of our creative people, we came up with the concept, the visual. Ernie's like, he's going to be gold. So we spray painted all this stuff gold. We put him on a box. We covered him with a sheet, and everybody came in and we did like a statue unveiling, and it was so well received. But it was like in 4 days' time, we created it. We imagined it, we made it, and it was a huge success. Everyone was taking photos with them. And just to be able to do things like that and have that be your job, I mean, it doesn't get a lot better than that for me.
So it's a lot of creativity.
Yes.
That's very cool. So, what advice would you give the next generation of young women leaders?
That relationships are everything.
Yeah.
And you never know who you're going to end up doing business with. If you stay in San Diego, especially, not necessarily, but especially, you never know who you're going to end up across a table from at a dinner, who you're going to be, who you're going to get an email from to connect you. So relationships are everything. And your reputation has to be your word. I mean, you have to just be true to yourself and be true to those people that you have relationships with, because I run into people from high school in places I didn't think I would. My daughter got her job at the credit union where she works because she's an alumni of a school in town. Like, it's everything, in my opinion. I just think that that's what you have to do.
So, interestingly enough, so your daughters, what do
Mhm.
they? I know my daughter looks at me and says, "Oh, mom," a lot of times.
Yeah.
What do your daughters say about you? What do they share with you about their thoughts?
About my work and things, they loved the years at the arena. Absolutely loved it. They didn't miss a show that they ever wanted to go to. They, got the VIP treatment, got to come in, didn't have to stand in line. They love Ernie. They love the family. Everyone's watched them, grow up. My youngest was 3 years old when I started working there. So they all watched her grow up and felt like, they just loved her. So they love that. They absolutely love it. And that we all would get to go and have family fun there. We would get to go to, when they were little, go to the Disney on Ice and go to the hockey games and do all those things. So I think they think from a work perspective, it's pretty cool. And the Wonder Bus and Dream Hahn is, the next level.
So, kind of interestingly enough, you're talking about all that. During the pandemic, we've seen such a shift from, the corporations getting, all of these different rules and regulations, and the small businesses being hit differently and harder, in my opinion. I think there is a sense, though, that much of the community really wants to get behind small businesses. Have you seen any of that in your specific Dream Hahn?
Well, we try to get behind small businesses wherever we can and use local artists and local vendors. And we sort of receive some of that as well. Infinium, one of our biggest clients, are trying to make their presence known in San Diego, which is a lot of their experiential marketing, push. So yes, I feel like we try to do that and hire local, whenever we can.
So, what are your plans for the future?
Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully to keep doing business wise, to keep doing what we're doing and just have fun one day at a time with everyone and make the bus a household name.
So, what's the correlation between Dream Hahn, Wonder Bus, and then Wonderfront?
So Wonderfront is a separate project of Ernie's. And it's, the festival, the 3-day festival.
Right.
Dream Hahn helps where it's needed for marketing support. And the Wonder Bus will probably do some marketing and advertising for the festival as it gets closer, doing some slow rolls through downtown and, promoting the festival.
And North County, you got to go to North County. Everyone forgets about North County.
No. We don't forget about North County. We're in Del Mar a lot. And we know you're up in San Marcos, so we need to get it up to North County to San Marcos.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and all across the 78 corridor, because we have a lot of residents up there, and we love music too. We love to have fun. And, I think that's one of the things, a lot of people in North County don't go down to downtown except for, these sort of experiences that you're talking about. It would be great to have, North County do something also as equally as awesome as downtown, because I call us the upside of San Diego.
I love that. No, I agree. Like, all we need is a spot.
Yeah.
And we can bring the
exactly.
bus and bring the bands, and then you've just got an event, all by itself. And we could do it with regularity. It could be monthly or every 8 weeks or, whatever.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It would be great.
Okay, so Kathy Padilla, Dream Hahn, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and your guidance and talking about something that not everyone thinks that they could get into, which is, the whole, experiences of music and different venues and all of that. Just really a lot of fun. And also I love the part of the small business and the family and it being more like a family. And I think when a lot of people listen to this today, they'll probably think about, I want that. I want to have a job that is, like all surrounded by this big family and not so much a corporate sort of career. And maybe I could start a business that's quite like that.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now that was powerful. We hope you've been lifted and encouraged by today's inspiring voice. Always remember that life doesn't look exactly the same for each one of us. Never stop dreaming, striving, and thriving. In future episodes, we look forward to bringing you powerful stories from amazing women who learn how to lead in to challenges. Thank you for listening and being part of our community with SheEO host, Rebecca Jones.
You have been listening to a Cloudcast original. Local stories, local storytellers, local brands. Find more stories at cloudcast.us.